Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Today on Tallidus Plays, we're back in the world of Timberborn, and we are beginning cycle number 2 on our Lakes playthrough here. Again, we're on the Lakes map. It's kind of the beginner-friendly map. And when you know it, the water is just now starting to flow again. So you'll see here, it's starting to come down these sort of grotto areas. And look at that. Just as certain, the grass is beginning to grow yet again. And so will our crops and our trees. Here we go. We have our congratulations. Our settlement has survived its first droughts. Droughts are part of the seasonal cycle. They will return and become even longer over time. But yes, as you might have guessed, we're still constructing our initial dam here. This is just the first of many dams to come. This will hopefully retain even more water in the case of the next drought, which we know is inevitable. Again, our beavers are hard at work harvesting these delicious carrots and sunflowers. The blueberries are still there. We're going to kind of hang out and leave those. I want to build a bridge over here to capture more of these kind of wild blueberries. The tree farm is coming along swimmingly, no pun intended, and hopefully that will be ready to harvest sooner than later. Those birch trees, again, take 7 days, but they do need water, so right now they're just kind of in stasis, so to speak. And right now we're pretty much just waiting for everything to get flowing. Of course, the bad water came down this little natural aqueduct and is doing a great job at infecting all this local farmland. But of course, we're not using that yet, so I'm not too worried. That'll get pushed away by all this delicious, clean drinking water. It's taking a bit longer to flow because it sort of has to fill these natural basins first. Once these are full, it will then continue to flow along its present course. You see these two will flow here, and they will converge right at our tree farm, continuing to flow down past our water wheel and, of course, our water pumps, which are providing our beavers with the always essential drinking water for the colony. Our stats are looking actually perfect right now. We have no unemployment, we have no vacancies, so perfect employment for beavers, which means we actually need to expand. So we're going to start with building a couple more lodges, and then we'll look at teching up a little bit in order to build some new structures. So again, we want to get stairs ASAP. I'm going to build 2 more lodges so that we can get some more employees for our future buildings. Again, this takes a minute because we need the kids to grow up. We have 5 beaver children, or kits as they're called. Once those kits grow up, then they'll be able to help us run the economy properly. Again, this dam will also double as a bridge crossing the river, allowing our beavers to get to the other side. So this will be kind of the other half of our initial district area here. And at this point, you might notice the tutorial is gone. We have basically completed all the natural spots. And here we go. We get a nice, excellent shot of the water returning to our tree farm. And look at that. It's glory coming back, watering our trees, increasing the birch growth. It's quite a sight to behold here. So we're just going to enjoy this for a minute as this flows through. Natural trees also coming back to their vibrant green. And the water kind of flowing through that vicinity there. And we'll get another little angle here of it going across the cropland area. Again, providing its essential nourishment of life throughout our beaver farmland here. Carrots and sunflowers alike will burst back to life here, giving the farmers a little bit of time, of course, to catch up on their duties. They have a lot of harvesting to do, and that will double up probably sooner than later once this water starts flowing all the way through. The water pumps kick back into life as well, so we're already filling back up our coffers here. Storage is looking good. We got 130 water, 130 food. We could do a little bit better at timber and planks, but that was to be expected. We knew things would kind of slow down a little bit when the drought occurred because no tree growth means no lumber harvesting, and without harvesting lumber, we don't have any wood for planks. So now the water wheels are spinning, and we are back in full swing here. So the beavers are happy. Again, their well-being did not drop at all during the drought. They actually had enough stockpile to stay nice and happy. They got to enjoy a little bit of downtime by the campfire, but otherwise it's all hands on deck now that we have water. Again, you can see here it took almost a full workday for that water to flow from the source blocks all the way through our area, and it's still flowing. Again, it's still kind of flowing. It's going to butt up against this bad water and sort of push this back. So again, it's important in the early game to kind of observe the way the water kind of works and keep that in mind as you plan ahead. Also, the flow rate is vitally important. So now we know, again, it takes about a day or 16 hours from the start of the water flow to actual interaction with our water wheel and our base. So we have a good idea of how to time that out. Again, we have some new automation they introduced just before the full launch of the game. I have not used any of these yet, but you can imagine what they might do. These are relays and sensors, detect a variety of things, including flow, depth, contamination, and even weather. And these will basically help you automate some of the things in the game that can be automated, such as levee height, levees that can be raised and lowered. I'm sorry, maybe not levees. What am I thinking of here? Um, Levees are permanently, they block off waters completely. I'm thinking of floodgates. Yeah, floodgates can go up and down, but they can also be controlled by sensors. So they can automate that job for you, which is quite nice. And again, you can also create switches and controls that basically operate things wirelessly, so to speak. So you can have all your controls in a central location, maybe kind of randomly off to a high unwatered area where you don't care about the usage of land, and you can put a bunch of switches there and kind of use that as your command center for the entire map, controlling what floodgates are up or down. And again, floodgates are very important when it comes to bad tides because you don't want to swarm all of your crops with bad water. If you can avoid it, that's always the ideal. And again, you can see here, this is still flowing through. It's been a full almost 24 hours at this point, and the water has not reached this far side of the map. So that's about how long it takes for it to get all the way through without almost any spillover. Again, this bad water does spill off right here. That's pretty straightforward. But all of this is coming through, and it's just now filling this last basin up before it moves through this final channel here. This is where it spills off. And I call this kind of the southern corner of the map. I know there's not really cardinal directions in the game. There is a day-night cycle if you really care to look up into the sky. But again, usually I just keep the orientation in a certain angled format, such as this. It's kind of, I'm just used to the isometric style of the games of yore, when everything was kind of on the diagonal. Gives you a little bit better view. Looks better than, in my opinion, than if you had the square edge on. So, the Timberborn is nice. Everything looks good from almost any angle. And sometimes, yes, you do just have to turn the camera to see what's going on. With that said, let's go ahead and start actually expanding the base. So we have a couple more lodges being constructed. Again, I'm kind of burning time on purpose because we want to let these birches start growing again. So let's go into speed 2. This is kind of my standard operational speed. If I'm not waiting for an event or I'm waiting to look at water dynamics, usually I'm playing the game at 2 speed. So it's slow enough to see what's happening and you can react, but it's also fast enough to where, you don't have to wait 20 minutes in real time for a tree to grow. Having said all of that, it's a good time to start upgrading some of our abilities, mainly stairs. We have enough science to unlock stairs, and we will do so now. And I'm going to go ahead and start looking towards spiral stairs because they save a lot of space. You can start building stairs on this kind of, you can see here, this kind of corner where it turns 90 degrees while it goes up one level. Platforms, also vital to the game, so we'll unlock those as well. I'm going to keep saving points. We might save up and do double platforms next. Maybe I'll look into a bigger water pump or possibly a bigger lodge. Many lodges are different, so they're smaller. They can only have 1 inhabitant versus 3, but they do give better needs, I believe. So it's kind of a trade-off there. Again, you can sort of see how these work. They're a little bit better at being kind of squeezed into these smaller gaps, and they can also stack very nicely, but it's good for like a remainder. I don't know if it's necessarily that much better for the well-being, but it's just a different lodge option. Of course, double and triple lodges, they get bigger from there. Double's a 2x2, and it's 2 stories. Triple is a 2x3, and it's 2 stories. So the nice thing about triple is that it does fit, of course, 9 beavers. So 3, 6, 9. And if you're mathematically inclined, let's see, we can do 2x2 is 4. 2x3 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. So if 12 sleeps 9, that's better than 4 sleeping 3. It occurs to me that that's actually the same exact ratio. Yeah. 2 sleeps 1, 4 sleeps 3. So the worst ratio is the 1. I think the others all are actually the same ratio. It's 4 tiles to 3 beavers. Am I mistaken? Yeah, 4 to 3. Okay. So yeah, just different formations of lodges and structures. But again, it's good to always add a little bit of variety to the housing mix. Just visually, I think. Again, we can look at other storage options. Of course, we have the builder's hut, which is always nice. Additional builders, so you're not relying on these guys. At this point, actually, I think I might go ahead and bump this up to 4. So now we have 4 builders in the district center. Also, we will have the hauling posts completed at some point whenever the lumber mill produces enough lumber, or planks rather. So when that's done, producing the planks, we'll have the hauling post ready to go. And then we'll have all these haulers able to assist everyone with moving this product around the areas. Because you can see our forester is doing a great job. He's almost fully planted all these trees so that our lumberjacks can continue chopping them. They're not chopping them yet, though, because, as you might realize, these are not fully grown. So they're only chopping these old-growth oaks. Luckily, these have been kind of sustaining the colony's lumber needs in the short term while these birches continue to grow. But yeah, now is a good time to look at another little expansion option here. So keeping an eye on food and water. These look decent. It might be a good idea to get more water storage. So I think the next thing we unlock is a medium tank. And again, you're going to see I'm going to start probably clearing out some of these blueberries, because this is not exactly worth the land that it's on. And again, once our crops actually do well, we don't have to rely on wild blueberries anymore. So we're going to earmark a few of these for destruction. We don't want to do them all at once, though, because again, we do want to keep them temporarily accessible to the gatherer. We have more over here too. So the idea is we have the platform. So again, this is not going to stop any water, but this can be used to build a bridge right across the river here. And then boom, we've got access to all these extra blueberries, which is not a bad idea. So we're going to build a road over here. And we'll just stop it there. And again, this blueberry gatherer should have, oh, maybe not. So we might have to build another one, or what we could do is just relocate it. So let's go ahead and click the food option, gatherer flag. Can we put this in a way, yep, right here, he covers both patches. And we can even build stairs up to the second level to get more of those, which we have, thankfully, already unlocked. So we'll go ahead and do that now. Again, we want to build the path in such a way that we're not destroying tons of blueberries. So we'll do it there. And we'll have to destroy just this one. But then we could build the path up. And again, the gatherers don't need the roads to go everywhere, but I think they might need the roads up to the staircase. I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. But we'll burn that bridge when we get to it. Vertical architecture. So this is telling us about the vertical structures. Rooftop terrace. Connect rooftop terrace. So rooftop terrace is a well-being structure. And it is located right here. And this must be built on top of a roof. What are the odds? So basically, this is another reason to have staircase. You need a way to get up here. We'll put it probably just right here for now. It's the only rooftop area that I've got nearby. So we build that. You build a platform to the entrance, and then we could build a staircase going down. In this case, I'm going to put it right here, actually. Go path, platform, and then 2 paths. And eventually they'll build all that. It'll connect up. Layer tool. So here we go. We have lower visibility to 0. So again, these are layers. I have yet to really go into this. So this is visible layer. So again, there's a variety of layers on the map, and this kind of peels away the terrain so you can look down. And again, this is what the very bottom layer of the map looks like. This is layer 0. And what's cool is this actually shows you some hidden things too. You can see some of these natural resources. Keep an eye on those. And then as you, oh, nope, that's working hours. We're going to keep that the same. We can go back up. Raise visible layer. And then reset visible layer is right here. This resets it to infinite, which basically means it's going to show you all the terrain as it would appear naturally. You can also control the visible layer without clicking the buttons with customizable key bindings. So again, you can alt scroll. So you can see here I'm kind of scrolling in real time. Very convenient. But I don't mess with that too often, to be honest. You're only going to really do that when you're doing some terraforming, or let's say we're looking for very specific things. In this case, we have a seep. This is underground ruins. Here is a bad water source. I'm pretty sure we've got a freshwater seep over here somewhere. Oh, that's a bad water. See this? You can tell this little guy right here. Can't click on it until you raise up, but then when you raise up, you can click on it. That's a water seep. So those are, they haven't been in the game the whole time, but the seeps themselves are just a different way to get water. And I believe you can actually put drills on top of them to kind of drill the water up. So even during a drought, you can still force the flow of some water. Having said that, with regards to water, this dam is complete. So we have this little 5-tile dam. Right now it's not doing much because the water is flowing at its normal rate. However, you will notice this basically inevitably goes, I think it's again about 65%. This blocks out of 100%, I believe it blocks 65% of this height here. And again, I keep forgetting, I think it's 1 meter per height tile, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. But either way, this is 0.65 of 1 height unit, to my knowledge. So when the drought occurs, you'll see the water stop flowing, but this will actually catch about 2/3 of the water all the way back to this block here, because this is the next drop down. It'll catch 2/3 of that. And the great thing there is that this whole area downstream will dry out before this empties. And then we'll have all this water will sit here and stay, you know, working on these crops. These will stay nice and green and growing. But more importantly, the water pumps will still have water to pump, so that we can keep giving our beavers the all-essential water that they need. On that note, let's go ahead and build our larger storage tank, now that we're talking about water. Again, I like to put this as close as possible to the water, although we'll put it right here because I like the little offset there. So yeah, we'll just pop it right there. Again, don't forget to earmark any storage container for its resource. And we'll say this is prioritized by hauler. So you can click on any given vessel and you see prioritized by hauler. This means that of these 6 containers, you have the 5 smaller ones and the 1 medium. They will try to fill up the medium first, and then they'll fill up the 5. And just as kind of a random nerdish thing to say, I like to fill up the biggest one first, and then the 5 smaller ones, because that way you have a better visualization. If this one's full, that's fine, and then each of these is full. You can kind of visually see, okay, we have 2 out of the 5 are drained. That means we're getting close to being, you know, lower on our water resource. You can see right there, it's draining right now. Again, this is at the end of the day. They all stopped working, so they all come to get a little swig from the water source. They grab a little food from the storage, and then they all go hang out at their relative campfires and social meeting spots. And, you know, they have 8 hours to do whatever they wish. Ideally, sleep. But, you know, that's up to the beavers entirely. We don't control them, we just provide. And looking at that, we have our birch trees are finally coming into their own. So our lumber resources should start to increase here quite dramatically. Our hauling post is finally working as well. We'll bump that up to 4 total haulers. We have our new lodges with 5 open beds. So now is a great time to expand a little bit. So we're going to finish this bridge. We're going to build this new gathering hut for the extra blueberries. Again, this guy still has some blueberries, so we're going to leave him there for now. It's a nice little backup blueberry hut. And again, check your resource stockpiles. You'll see here the resources will actually show their capacity and storage. So if anything is ever full to the max, you might want to consider constructing more storage units, because it never hurts to have a stockpile. You never know when the drought or a sudden bad event might happen. Usually, again, the game will give you a little bit of a heads up when it comes to bad tide or drought. But sometimes you don't know. Sometimes it could be a bit of a curveball. Do we have this earmarked for tree chopping? Let's see. Okay, yes. Again, I like to unmark areas when we're really done with them, just to keep the kind of commands a little tidy. On that note, let's go over here and make sure these are all marked. Yes. And now that these are coming into their own, we're actually going to demark all of these oaks. And we're going to leave the stumps for now. We'll come back and chop out those stumps at some point, but they're not really worth the effort right now, so we'll just leave them. We're going to eventually use this ground probably for more tree farms, possibly crops. But again, for now, we're good. And look at that. We have our rooftop terrace is complete, so beavers can go up there and hang out in the very swanky rooftop terrace. Members only, totally exclusive. And sure enough, we have the this is complete. Let's go ahead and connect this with our little road. And yep, we've got another blueberry gatherer doing his business. So looking good. We have 2 job vacancies. That's probably, oh, I'm sorry, that's, yeah, 2 job vacancies, probably from the hauling post. No? What are these from? Oh yeah, probably inventors, because those are low priority. So again, not a huge concern. We do have some kits that are growing up. We have a couple more open beds. So our beavers are happy enough. They will eventually give birth to a few more little beavers, and they will start. Look at that. As I say that, one just got born. So yeah, we'll get inventors in no time. And again, you can actually see sort of the ring of growth happening around the forester. These are grown kind of in the order that he planted them, and then they'll be chopped down almost immediately. On that note, I think it's a good time to go through and make sure we plant the remainder of our birches in these open spots. And that's a nice, tidy birch farm there. It's going to go all the way out here, so I think we are going to go ahead and let's plant a little bit of a mix here. So again, this is just for the sake of, you know, giving a little bit of biodiversity. Some oak trees will pop down. And you'll see these take a lot longer to grow than the birch. 7 days for the birch, 30 days for the oak. So about a little over 4 times as long, but you notice they actually get 4 times the wood. So instead of 2 logs, I'm sorry, birch only gives 1 log. These give 8, so it's 8 times the log production for oak. So we're gonna mark that all the way out through here. Yeah, we can basically make this whole area up here oak. So let's do that. And also, they have better drought resistance. These can last 15 days, whereas birch only 11. So oaks are more drought resistant, and you know, again, much longer to grow, but it'll be worth it in the long run when those come to fruition. Again, that's why these wild oaks were so beneficial when it came to our little bit of a lumber shortage there. And as I say shortage, we are done with the crops. The farmers have gone through and harvested everything, and now they are back to growing. So we are now back to growing season. They still have harvesting prioritized, but yeah, they're going to plant all these out. They'll plant all the carrots and sunflowers, and I think at this point is a good time to consider a second farmhouse for wheat or potatoes, possibly both. So that's what I'm going to do next. Again, more food variety, happier beavers, more food variety, more food resilience. So we have potato and wheat we can plant. Potatoes require a grill to grill up the potatoes so they're edible. Wheat requires a grist mill and a bakery. So we need to mill the wheat into flour and then turn the flour into bread with a bakery. So keeping that in mind, I think we're going to start with potatoes, and then we will kind of upgrade into bread production. Also, let me consider this. So this is this farmhouse. This is basically operating as well as it can. The only thing I might do here is remove this blueberry patch entirely, because I don't think it's going to grow fast enough for what I want. It's 12 days to basically produce 3 berries. Let's check the rates for all the other food here. So for potatoes, it's 6 days for 1 potato, 10 days for 3 wheat. Let's check the wheat ratios here. So 1 potato grilled creates 4 grilled potato portions. So it is definitely more valuable. It's about 20 to 30% better. Whereas the wheat turns into 1 flour. 1 flour turns into 5 bread. So that might be the ultimate factor there. The wheat takes a little bit more time, but it produces 3 over 10 days versus 1 to 6. And then that 3 becomes 15. So 15 for 10 days, 15 units of food. Or 3 units of food, I believe. Let me double check. Math. 4. So yeah, 4 units of food in 6 days. Or 15 units of food for 10 days. So 10 is less than twice 6. 15 is much more than twice of 4. So yeah, definitely wheat is the most efficient long term. So that's going to be our long-term solution. What I might do, because they're already done here, the really stopping point for these farmers in this farmhouse is the harvesting. The planting doesn't take that much time, you just saw. They basically planted both of these fields in less than a day. It takes, I think, 4 or 5 days to harvest both fields. So we might leave these blueberries for now and go ahead and pop down a second farmhouse over on this side. Again, you get an idea of how far the range is and then try to maximize the usability. So we're going to go ahead. What we could do is actually, I have an idea actually. We can overlap these farms like so. I could build another bridge here. These farmers can assist with both fields. So let's do that. We got a path here. We'll do platforms. And then we'll do a path right across like so. And then we could even connect these paths. Might be a little bit of a waste of farmland, but I think that'll be worth it in the long run. So this is all connected. And then what we do is we place down our farmhouse. Something like, yeah, you see how much of that field this can help with? So if we rotate it, it can get almost the whole field and the majority of this side. So let's do that, I think, is the play here. Back it up into the corner. Yeah, I think that's what we do right here. That way they can help harvest all these, and these guys can actually come over here. They don't have a lot of ability, to be honest, coming over here. But that's fine. I'm not going to try to move that farmhouse. So these will be backups. Let's go ahead and start setting up the planning, though. So again, here we're going to start with potatoes. Do this whole area. And honestly, I don't see any reason not to do every plantable position from here down and across. So yeah, I say here and like so. All these will be potatoes. So we need a place to store the potatoes, and then does the cook need power? Does not, just needs a beaver. Cool. And this grows vegetables, not just potatoes, it also grows chestnuts, and I believe this is a spatterdock. This is an aquatic plant though, and we don't have a lot of aquatic space. Up here there's a little bit, but for now I'm just going to keep the riverbed as a riverbed. Eventually though, in areas like this, it's not a bad spot to place river farms. The best spot is kind of this basin area, because this will stay full of water. Maybe not that particular one though, because that will fill up eventually with the bad water. All right. New farmhouses. Oh, you know what I forgot to do is place a road to the front door of said farmhouse. Do that. Not the most efficient thing, but that's fine. We need to place the griller. I want them to be close to this, so we'll put a road right here going to the griller. And again, like I said, I'm trying to maximize the growing area, so we'll leave that out like that. Plant more potatoes. This whole farm is just going to be all potatoes all the day long. Again, we'll see what grows here. I'm pretty sure this means that nothing will grow, so we can unmark. Oh no, cancel. Yeah, so we'll cancel anything that looks like it's clearly not going to grow. I think that's good. We'll see. Maybe those will grow. I'm not sure. And then we can also do our storage. So again, we need at least 2 storages here. One for raw potatoes and one for cooked potatoes. Medium warehouse. One here. Yep. This is going to store our raw potatoes. Then we can plop down at least 1 griller, maybe 2, honestly. Let's do 2. This is designed for the masses, so 2. And here's the question. Do we want to put the rest of our potatoes over there, where the people eat them? I think that's what we do. So we'll put the final warehouse over here. Medium warehouse, kind of in the mix, right over here near the district center. Put it a little off to the side like so. This will hold our delicious cooked or grilled potatoes. And the haulers will be the ones, ideally, who haul those over. And these farmers can start focusing on, well, these guys will focus on potatoes. These guys will not have a focus. They're focused on harvesting, though. Here you can see this is a, what the heck? This is a beaver with nothing to do, which means we will destroy this particular structure. It has served its purpose. All this wood is now gone. Let's double check this farmer house. Yeah, see, this stops right here. So we could use this for something else. It's arable land, so I want to use it for something growing, but I'm not sure I want to do wood or food here. We will play that by ear. We'll save it for now. We could also do something like chestnut trees. But again, I might do those over near the grillers, because again, we need to... Oh, I forgot to choose a recipe. Don't forget the recipe. We want grilled potatoes for both of these. But again, we could potentially plant some chestnut trees over in this area. Again, this is kind of a little hodgepodge. We have different trees and blueberry bushes. So it wouldn't be the worst idea to eventually connect these. Let's actually do that now. connect these roads through here like so. We'll whack down a couple of those trees, but we'll build a lumberjack and a blueberry gatherer just to like maximize our utilization of this area. And then we'll figure out what to do after all these resources are gone. So we'll put a little blueberry gatherer. I think right here is good. Let's get all these wild blueberries. And then probably just the one lumberjack. We don't need multiple. One should, you know, do the job. Again, we got to make sure we earmark. So again, cut trees. We want to earmark this whole area to be chopped. And there we go. Again, if you really care, you can get a little bit more granular with it and say, okay, we don't want all this because this is just crops. But again, when you earmark an area for chopping trees, the only thing that really affects is the trees. You can see here these blueberry plants are not affected at all. So don't worry, your lumberjacks aren't going to cut down a blueberry bush for no reason. Potatoes are coming along nicely. The second bridge is coming along as well. And again, we will probably... Can I prioritize the tree? I don't think I can. What you could do, though, is theoretically I could say, hey, I just want to straight up demolish this tree to make way for the road. So we could do that if it was a huge concern. I don't think it really matters, though, at this point. This is just a kind of a, you know, clearing the area project. So that's not really of my number one concern right now. This warehouse is good. This warehouse is coming along, and the grillers are going as well. Grillers take one worker each. Checking our beavers here, we have 3 job vacancies. So we know that at least 2 of these are the inventors because they're low priority. But you know what? I would like to start teching up at some point. So I'm going to make one of these inventors neutral priority so that it keeps its worker a little bit longer. Also, on the note of invention, we do want to eventually create an observatory. These, however, require 4 worker beavers, and they require horsepower, 200 horsepower to be exact. So a couple things we want to do. First off, I want to build a second lumber mill because this one is not doing the job. We only have 1 plank here. I would like to kind of pump that up a bit. So we're actually going to get rid of these, and then we're going to place a second lumber mill right next to the first one. Because our wood is not as much of an issue. You can see these are going to start coming in. Our lumberjacks are doing their job. We might actually plant more trees over on this side because I think, yeah, we can make all this more tree farms. So let's go ahead and do that. Plant trees. We'll do, you know what? We're all going to need some pine resin at some point. So we'll do birch. Let's do some birch. Like half birch, and then we'll do half pine. How far does this go? Oh, all the way over here. Okay, so we'll do pine like here down. And again, the pine is going to be useful because we'll actually be able to use the pine resin. So let's double check and see. Tapper's Shack employs tappers who gather sap and syrup from trees. It's pine resin and maple syrup, which come from pine trees and maple trees. So the pine trees we don't want to cut down. We want those to stick around, but we do need to upgrade to the Tapper Shack. That does take 500 science. Starting to see a little bit of a bottleneck here in our gameplay. I have not prioritized research as much as I should have, but once we get the observatory going, that won't be a problem. So the next thing to look into would be gear production and pine resin gathering. So gear production would be a little bit quicker, so let's go to wood. Gear workshop, this takes wood, lumber and planks. Only takes 100 science to unlock, so we're almost there. We have 60 science right now. But you'll see this takes a plank, a little bit of time and horsepower, and 1 beaver, and it creates a gear. So while these guys are working on getting rid of these, we're going to bump off a few more of those. Sunflower plants. Let's go ahead and destroy a few more. And again, yes, sacrilege. We are using areas that would otherwise be fantastic, but we want to use the power from this water wheel, because this water wheel is generating about 300, 350. Lumber mill's only using like 50, I think, right now. Yeah. So again, we're going to take a second lumber mill, put it right here. And then we also want to go ahead and make a gear workshop, which is going to take 120. So 50-50, that's 100. 120 is 220. But again, we need the science to do so. Let's actually increase this one to preferred. That way it guarantees that we have a beaver in at least one of these. The other one will be low priority, but this one will be higher priority. And he will soon enough be creating enough, science to use. You'll see here we have a lot more vacancies because the grills are back up and running. So we're going to go to speed 3 now for a little bit. because we need more beavers. We got 4 kits still growing up, 2 open beds. We got 9 open jobs, so we do need to build more lodges here. Again, just be careful. You don't want to run out of workers at a bad time, but you also don't want to build too many workers that you don't have the resources to sustain them. So, it's a balancing act like any other game. Again, I know I'm building this all over. Oh, we have a drought approaching again. All right. Drought approaching in 3 days. Interesting. I didn't think we'd have another one so quickly. This one will put in the corner here. Again, I like keeping these crevices kind of open. We could put the single unit mini lodges in one of these. Possibly not, actually, because it needs a door. But we could always put something back there, either a beautification element, a well-being element, or even a decoration, like a shrub or something. We could unlock these as we go. Lanterns, roofs, which is kind of cool. You can actually add roofs to sort of spruce up. No pun intended there. Spruce up your structures. For now, we are just building more houses because we need more workers. And we also need more trees. These lumberjacks are not cutting the mustard. They're not getting all the way over here. So I might need to build... Well, let's see. We have 3 lumberjack flags. So I think I could safely... What I'm going to do is probably demolish one of these. We'll wait till he comes back and stores his wood there. Maybe we'll wait till the end of the workday. Who knows? Because we want... This lumberjack is not reaching. We have like a little outcrop here of a few trees that need to get chopped. So... I'm trying to think of the best way to do that without messing up the whole... I don't know. Maybe we just leave him for now. Worry about that later. Forester is doing a good job, though. He's planting more of these birches, and he's starting to plant some of these pines. Again, when we get the 100 science to unlock the resin tapper, that's what we'll do. Tapper Shack is, 500. The gear workshop is 100. We're going to do the gears first, because the Tapper Shack requires gears to build. So, again, you got to make sure you unlock your tech in the proper order. Otherwise, you know, it's not going to work. We have plenty of room for sunflower seeds. Berries are full. So, that's interesting. And again, you can see here, these are further away. So all the structures that are furthest from the district are not going to get the worker beavers. That's why we have like 10 vacancies right now. It's also why I'm building more lodges to house more beavers. We're actually going to go ahead and queue up a couple more of these bad boys, because we really do need the help. This is a good time to put a second level here. And we could flip this one and do a second level there. And then we can use a platform to create the path to the front door. There and there. And then they can use the same staircase as the rooftop terrace. And this is also a really great opportunity to put down a beautification object. So we'll look at decorations. Because if I put the shrub here, it's going to catch everybody walking from these first 2 stories. And 1, 2, 3 more lodges. So this is not a bad spot to put a little bit of shrubbery. And again, it's pretty cheap in the long run. Only 12 logs there. So again, we need to get ready for another drought coming up. So I'm going to actually prioritize construction on this medium tank, because all 5 of these are full, which means these water gatherers are not really doing anything. Honestly, I should probably deprioritize those if these are all full. But once this is built, you know, they're going to have 300 units. Each of these only holds 30. So that's 150, 5 times 30. This will literally triple our water capacity, which is not a bad idea with a drought approaching to triple our water capacity. Also, you'll get to see the full effect of the dam here. So that'll be nice to see the dam working as it should. And we got potatoes, we got grills, all that. So again, let's check our district capacity here. So this is the district center. You see all these lines on the roads. Green is good, yellow is concerning, red is bad. So here we're getting just on the edge of concerning. See, this is yellow. This is indicating that this is about as far as away. You see the district here is 55 tiles to the district center. And again, once you get past, I believe it's 70 or 80 tiles, it's basically not very functional. That's when you want to consider building a second district, or maybe redoing your pathways a little bit. Again, here we could create kind of a shortcut straight across the field if we wanted to, or build platforms perhaps, or maybe go underground. Again, that's another thing they've updated since the last time I played, is you have the ability to build underground tunnels, to my knowledge. So that's kind of interesting. Again, Iron Teeth have the ability to build sort of tubes that transport beavers all around, sort of Futurama style. I believe Folktales use zip lines, so you can build zip lines for the Folktale beavers. There's still some more trees to chop, so we're going to leave all these. Yeah, we're going to leave all these lumberjack huts up, because we do need the wood. But hopefully they will drop off, prioritizing this medium tank. Oh, it needs gears. Aha! I see. There's no way this will finish until we get gears going. Can we build enough gears in the next 2 days? That's the question. So this takes 20 gears. We need 100 science, so let's go ahead and up the priority on that science. So now we have both inventors rocking and rolling. We need 100 science to build our gear manufacturing structure. And then that will start taking these planks and turning them into gears. Now we need a stockpile for those gears, so let's keep that in mind as well. I believe those take the... Oh, we need a warehouse for gears, huh? They do take a warehouse. Okay. Glad I double checked. I thought that was a stockpile. So we need a medium warehouse. Again, we'll just pop it right at the end of the road here. I'm going to do... Yeah, we'll just do it right up against the road. That's fine. Again, I'm not getting points for efficiency. I totally understand that. But as soon as we can, we're going to build that gear manufacturer. Unlock it right at 100. There it is. Build it right there. Prioritize that for construction. Ironically, this takes logs and planks. Makes sense. As soon as this is going, then we can build that. And then we can also build that. We have 1.4 days in which to do so. And of course, the beavers are about to stop working. Let's actually bump up their work hours to 18. We could use the extra work time. You know, let's actually, we're gonna go in a crunch time here, folks. We're gonna go to 20 hours, but only up until the drought. So the beavers' well-being might dip a little bit, but I need that extra work. So here we have a warning. I clearly placed the incorrect doorway there, so we need to fix the pathing. Put one there, and it's fixed. So again, if it doesn't connect, it can't be used. So now we have more open beds available, which is always good. And we can also demolish these paths. Alright. I like how it pauses the game just to delete a path. But pathing is important in the game, so, you know, it makes a little bit of sense. Alright, will they use the next 20 hours judiciously in order to prepare for the drought? We have a 3-step process. Build gear workshop. Employ beavers at said workshop. Store gears in warehouse. Now also we have literally nothing. We don't have logs to turn into planks. That's our other problem. Oh boy. Yeah, we might not be building this tank before the drought, but I think we'll be okay. Looks like again we have a population total of what, 25, 27 beavers, adults and children combined. Population max with open beds is like 36, and they basically consume a unit of water per day from what I can tell. So this is kind of a good, you know, daily estimate. We have about 3 to 4 days of water on hand. Even if it's 2 a day, that's still 2 days of water. I feel like this drought probably is going to only last 2 days, maybe 3. So hopefully we'll be okay. But it is fast approaching, so I would be curious to see, can we figure this out? Can we get enough logs to get all this going? I don't think we will. I think we'll get close, but the problem is this structure requires planks, and the planks are soaking up the logs that are also required by the very same structure. So, I don't know, folks. I think we might just be going into the drought as is. We have a good amount of berries and carrots, though. These sunflowers just really don't provide long-term food. It's a nice snack, but I think that's all it's going to be for a while. It's just like a nice little convenient snack for the beavers to kind of enjoy whenever it comes into fruition. Maybe I just need to plant more. But again, they're not very long-term. Again, you can look at the crops to see how the breakdowns work. Sunflower seeds take 5 days for 2, and that's all you get. 2 units of food for 5 days. It doesn't turn into anything. You can't multiply them through processes, so... what are you going to do? Now, what do I have earmarked here? Are these all birch? Oak. Birch, oak. Okay, oak's down here. That's right. These are pine up here. All right. Well, either way, we're finally sciencing up a little bit. We have a decent science income, so to speak. And our beavers are harvesting up those sunflowers. Again, not really worried about planting right now because we're about to have a drought. So they'll have plenty of time to plant during the drought, but nothing's going to grow. So we'll just focus on harvesting. We'll get a little bit of a sunflower supply so that the beavers can snack on those and just kind of pass the time. Having said that, it's time to begin our second drought at the end of cycle number 2. This is day 16 now. Came about much faster than our first drought, but that's to be expected. Again, the variability, you don't know exactly when any given drought will happen. It does give you that little heads up. I didn't really think this one would happen this quickly, but look at that. It's a 3-day drought, so that will start to test our water reserves here. Again, thankfully, we do have this convenient dam, and you will see the moment that the water stops flowing through the dam. We'll have a good idea of that because it'll probably be the same moment it stops flowing off of this tile here. So again, it'll take about a day. As we said, it takes a day for the water to fill, so it takes a day for it to empty. So keeping that in mind, this will be a good test of the colony as is at a current capacity here of about, we'll say 30 beavers total, to see what happens over a 3-day drought. And can our current resources and productivity handle that drought? All these potatoes are in the ground doing the job, so that's nice. Again, I guess these beavers just... I don't know who planted all this, to be honest, because this farmhouse doesn't cover that area. And this one doesn't have any beavers in it, so maybe there was a gap there where I had this farmhouse employed, and then I built these lumber mills and gear workshops, and then that took up the remainder. Oh, you know what it is? The farmers went over here to become inventors. That's probably what happened. When I prioritized the inventors, this lost its farmers, and thus, at least they had enough time to plant the trees, or sorry, plant the potatoes, so not really upset about that. Again, these are coming into their own at the perfect time. So, again, once they are fully grown and ready to go, they're fine. The only reason they'll start to wither or go away is if there is a drought or bad tide and they start actually physically dying. But you can leave them in the ground. As long as they're watered and healthy, they can leave them in the ground for a while. Here we got a couple of notifications. Lacks materials, means it needs the gears. And we have a couple understaffed buildings, which we already knew about. Everything across the river, basically, is understaffed. Again, when these kits start growing old, we will get, look at this. Boom, we had 4 more born. Let's just say the drought might inspire something. Well, they're born, so I don't know what the gestation time is, but a very good time to have a lot of new beaver births. We have 10 kits in the colony. That's actually almost dangerous now. 24 adults to 10 kits or children. So that means we ran into that thing I mentioned last episode where you don't want to build too many lodges at the same time because then you create a generation. And if you have a singular generation, they all tend to die off at the same time of old age. So if you see like multiple people dying of old age simultaneously, you could run into a bit of a labor shortage. Let's see, we can see now this is the water receding. It has officially stopped flowing over this lip, which means this will start to dry up on the other side. But thanks to our glorious dam here, the water wheel might not be spinning anymore, but the water pumps still have some water to pump up. So our beaver should be a-okay. And the other very important thing is that all this water just kind of sits here, keeps our crops nice and healthy. So the tree farm is suffering, sure, but these crops aren't doing so bad. And I have a hunch, at least at this point, we're not soaking up enough water out of the river to really drain it that fast. This might last us the entire drought. Again, it's only a 3-day drought. We're already halfway through it. So I think we might be okay. I'm going to speed up time just a little bit here. Again, we're just trying to get some science. We're trying to, finish a couple of constructions. This water is gone on the other side of the dam. You can see here, that's all flowing out. It's all kind of getting dried up and it's soaking into this little aquifer here. Again, if we were in this vicinity, we could use this for an aquatic farm because that would kind of retain the water. This is actually a great area for an aquatic farm. So we might look at using some dynamite to terraform this and maybe expand this whole area. As long as we get rid of this bad water so it doesn't keep coming down, this could be a really good area to do some aquatic crops. Again, those would be the ones that show the little waves, spatterdock and cattail are aquatic crops. But yeah, we're just kind of going to wait out the drought here. We got one more day left. And looks like our dam is doing its job. I don't think we'll be wanting water. The only issue is we basically have no lumber or power to make planks. So we're kind of at a standstill with regards to construction. But food and water look fine. We got a few sunflower seeds as a snack. And our beavers look fairly happy. Again, they get the little bonus from the sunflower seeds, but we're not at 9 yet because they're at 0.9. Again, a little thirsty. They're not quite perfect there. If they perfected, I think they would get to level 9 on their well-being. But I am just happy enough right now that we have a pretty functional society with very good eyes on expansion. Again, these potatoes are just now starting to come into their own. They're going to get harvested. Again, I have the priority on planting just to kind of create a nice little flow. If you do harvesting, you'll get the waves like the carrots, which I don't mind because this is a smaller scale. But for potatoes, I would like them to plant as they harvest, kind of harvest and plant immediately, because it takes them a minute to get processed by the grill. So there's not much point in overloading the grills with a bunch of raw potatoes if they can only process so many at a time. Also, having said that, neither grill is currently being operated. There's no beavers yet to operate them. We need a few more children to grow up and become fully fledged workers. And I'm resisting the temptation to build more lodges. I really want to, but we still have some vacant beds. We have 5 vacant beds. So I'd like those to fill up first. But let's go back to full speed up here. And we will let them kind of do their own business. Again, I need to start looking up the next expansion. So we have the district center here. We've kind of gone out a good amount this way. I might want to look out into expanding here into this area. But to do so, I would like a little bit more arable land. So we might start looking into actual terraforming. So you can do that through 2 ways. You can block water and get it to flow naturally by using things such as levees and dams and floodgates. The other option is to build dynamite, which allows you to actually blow away some of the terrain. So you can actually delete blocks entirely, creating canals, channels, or even just simply opening up some of these naturally occurring dams. They're called blockages. Natural dams. Things of that nature. Those can be demolished just through this little click. But I'm going to hold off on that now because Cycle 2 is officially over. And we have begun Day 1 of Cycle 3. Again, luckily our dams work perfectly. And we still have plenty of water. So our beavers never even really noticed. The lumberjacks maybe had a little bit of time off to kind of think about life. But otherwise, everybody stayed busy throughout the drought. And we had a little bit of a population spurt. But you can see here our well-being dipped just a little bit. So that's probably because the beavers got maybe a little thirsty, a little hungry. But they'll be okay in the long run. And I think with the beginning of Cycle 3, it's another good time to finish up the episode here. So if you made it this far, please feel free to like and subscribe. And until next time, this has been Tallidus Plays.